So it's a representation of whiteness, colonial power and
colonial, the entire thing, yeah.
I should just point out while we're filming the flag at this point that you can probably see that there are some white dots flying towards us. This was actually just a sort of off-the-cuff decision made on my part, and it was made to represent explosions and shrapnel. I was trying to make sure that the audio remained the most important part of the presentation and create all the visuals as a secondary thing to the audio. So in fact it's achieved in the most simplest of ways, which is actually just using a Windows XP screensaver on a projector, which I can just show you down there. And as long as nobody moves the mouse on the computer and it comes back saying press Ctrl-Alt-Delete to log in, then we have the stars coming at us, just with the projector slightly defocused, such that it's not quite so obvious that it's...
I mean, some of this equipment is genuine because I recognise that cart machine as a 1973 cart machine that came from the first licensed radio station in the United Kingdom, LBC, which started in October 1973, at the time, at the beginning of the Yom Kippur War between Israel
and there we are, it still works.
Yes.
If I press stop and play, you see, it's working, the cartridge is going round. So.
No, it's very retro is the word, isn't it? It's quite interesting, the acoustics in here are suffocating and claustrophobic as well, so there's a very good selection. And I presume the acoustics of a sound installation exhibition have got a purpose in supporting, in enveloping or containing the sound art. Am I right about that?
Oh yes, definitely. I mean, like I said, once I saw this, and I sort of tested it myself, I just sat here in the middle of the room, played a little thing on my phone or something, just to hear how it echoes or how it sounds and just what it feels like to sit in here. And what I wanted is to make people uncomfortable. Yeah. I didn't want them to sit here and get into some lull state where it's just, you know, another media.
It's a high-ceilinged room. The internal piping and engineering of the building is stripped away, so there's no comforting disguise of the nature of I suppose the brutal aspect of the architecture of a building in a space like this. And there's only a tiny bit of carpet on the floor, which is reflecting. It's not absorbing the reflections here at all. No, it's a very appropriate location.
It needed to be that way, I think. I actually wanted to get wooden chairs as well to make people sit down and feel uncomfortable.
They are design chairs, really, aren't they?
Yeah, unfortunately I could only get the red media chairs, which is unfortunate. But you know, had I done that, I think maybe people would have left. Even I had one guy leave in tears, which I thought was a accomplishment, actually.
Really?
Yeah.
Why did you think that happened? Was that after hearing? Because we hadn't heard the sound yet, or
it's just when I was busy, and the actual performance side of it just kind of happened. It just, you know, I mean, I put on the mask and
surgical gloves. You're wearing
yeah, I've got the surgical gloves, the trench coat, and I just wanted to completely conceal myself. And I just sat there.
Do you have the gas mask on as well?
Yes, I had the gas mask on the entire time. And I suppose for people watching it, I mean, it's difficult.
So when they came in, were you silent? Did you just sit here and remain silent? Did you get up and intimidate, or?
What I did was the sign outside. You turn it on and off to let people know when you're ready. So then you just wait. And then I had a little piece of paper outside saying, please enter when the thing is not flashing. So if someone would come in, then the moment they enter, so you just come to life. You just offer them a seat, and you.
So you come in here and they sit down. So why don't I do what somebody visiting the exhibition would experience? I come in and I've been invited in, if that's the right word, probably not. I sit here.
You just simply sit.
Well, as far away from you as possible, I imagine.
I'd imagine that's how everyone.
Do most people sit here then?
I actually never had a situation where it was. I think only the first person that came in was one, and I think from there it was just a snowball. Because then it's just you have to see that somehow. I didn't expect that at all. I thought I maybe had bitten off too much here, and that people are going to actually not like what I've done. And
so you sit here, and then what happens next?
Then I would play them a tape, which I had organised basically, because I designed it this way. On the website and everywhere else, I've called the two things fear and anxiety. The fear one was the 5-minute first year project I did. I was quite happy with. And then the anxiety is the 15-minute one, which is the one we're talking about today. And I basically made a tape to make people choose. And I would play this the moment they walk in. I do not say anything. I would put it in.
So you communicate them with your surgical gloved fingers?
That's right. I would just let them basically listen to what was going on in the tape, which at this point is not rewound, which it probably won't rewind either.
Because we need some power, maybe.
There we are.
No problem at all. These are experiences that tutors normally have in front of 500 students. They have to find the power on switch. Well done.
I found it quite amusing sometimes. Once it went wrong and I just had to stop, and the guy still was like...
And the guest apologised, not you?
No. He just sat there very quietly, and I would just...
Well, he can't have been English then, because the English always apologise, even when they're being tortured.
That's true. I would just play them that, which is the initial recording, if it's going to work.
In front of you sits 2 cassettes. You can only make one choice. Choose cassette 1 for 5 minutes of fear, and return to your mundane life, unarmed and unaware. Or choose cassette 2 for 15 minutes of anxiety.
Disposed safely by
And learn the
incineration.
truth of the secret war.
That's right.
In time, you may return to what you call your normal life. But for now, nothing will be the same. You have been warned. Please, choose now.
And that was just a very short piece that I just recorded at home the night before. I wanted it the whole time. I knew I had planned it. So
That's
even
your
with the even with the like the what do you call it, the distortion on the voice, the P sounds and so on. I wanted that. I just recorded on a dictaphone because I wanted it to be completely realistic. I think people these days, when they're trying to make something out of a media and so on, they make it too mediated, and for me, when I watch it, it just becomes too synthetic.
Because torture and death is normally very cheap.
Exactly. It's not something that's planned as such, you know, where it's got to be clean, it's clinical, and so it has to be rough, it needs to be, you know, just really ugly, and I wanted it to be ugly, the entire sort of experience. I wanted people to, I'm so pleased the guy actually felt that he was like so emotionally moved that he would cry, essentially. He was, I mean,
intriguing.
During the performance, as it were, I'm just going through the motions, which is how I feel when I listen to the certain things that I've created over here. And it's just a visual aspect to maybe guide people a little bit. And I think in the end is where it really got to the guy, because I'm dying, essentially. And the sound becomes it just becomes too much. And I wanted it to become too much. And he was actually trying to help me breathe on the thing. He thought he became part. I wanted that as well, for people to be interacting with me as well. And yeah, so I mean that was like the best reaction, I think.
Is there any more sound that hits the people who are visiting, or was it only through the choices you?
It was only through these choices,
I
basically,
see.
and I had just that. And well, if there was no one in here, I'd be playing like just a cassette, which was just music, essentially. And again, it's not exactly happy music. So
what happens when somebody chooses anxiety?
If someone chose anxiety, it's always in the bag. So I always make sure people start feeling a bit like, whoa, okay. And there was a reason why this one was called fear and that one's anxiety. It seems fear is obviously a stronger word, but this is a shorter one, and it's also designed to be like a cheap thrill. And this one's just a quick horror story in the vein of H.P. Lovecraft. Whereas anxiety, the 15-minute piece, you know, I felt it sits, and I designed it to be in a way kind of boring, because that's how, like, doom music or how noise music
Did many
goes.
people listen to anxiety and listen to the entire 15
Everyone
minutes?
listened to the entire thing, which is great.
Oh, right. Can we hear that now? Or
If you would like to.
Yeah, just for demonstration purposes. We're getting some electronic pips. That's the triangulation of mobile phone and handheld computer devices, which again, in this kind of environment, is also quite intimidating.
I made sure everyone turned off their phone just before they entered.
Something I should have done. It's probably me. Oh, now you're playing. You play the anxiety, the 15 minutes.
Just for
through a different speaker arrangement.
That's right. Yeah. I mean, Neil suggested that instead of playing the cassette, I had a cassette ready, but he said it does sound too like hissy.
Right.
I liked it that way, to be honest, but he made a point that it maybe won't be as clear for people. So I was like, okay, I'll just do this, and I'll go through the motion that I'm playing it on the cassette, and there would be a hiss because I would play a blank side.
I have to say the shrapnel projection on your trench coat and balaclava, and if you're also wearing the gas mask, it's part of the horror zombie ambience.
That's right.
I must say it's very effective. That's impressive. Because the reflections in here, there's a reverberation, so you're getting reflections from the walls. It's quite different, isn't it, from hearing it on headphones?
Soviet-backed squad.
I won't play it too loud. It's designed to be kind of loud.
Were you playing it loud when you had visitors?
I needed it to be as smothering and claustrophobic as possible.
Could you just give us some idea of how loud you play it?
Program. Supposedly as a defensive measure in order to conduct research on vaccines.
That's impressive.
However, as research was carried out, the program developed new capabilities for offensive measures. Finally, in 1981, then-President P.W. Botha ordered the South African Defence Force to develop the technology to a point where it could be used effectively against South Africa's enemies.
Would you give us permission to put this onto the companion website for the Sound Handbook to combine with the video and the interview?
Absolutely, yes, no problem.
That would be marvellous.
Kill people outside and within South Africa. Large quantities of riot gas were produced.
That's fantastic. If you want to fade that down now, the last question I'd like to ask you, and I'll move over to the opposite seat, because it's fascinating experiencing all of the angles that a visitor would have. It's only a matter of hours after the exhibition is over. You're about to break it down. What's your overall personal assessment of the success of this sound program as curated sound art exhibition?
I'm absolutely amazed that people actually caught on and understood where I was coming from. I was thinking about that actually, why it maybe was that successful, why I got such a good reaction.
There we are. It's the intersection of modern technology. Do carry on.
I think it was just because I did something that was a personal, real, emotional account of something. You know, I didn't make something that's great or good. I made something that's real. And that's what I wanted from the beginning, and I think people really connected with that rather than watching just another synthetic piece of media. You could watch Dawn of the Dead, you can watch a horror movie, and once it's over, it's over. Whereas this, I wanted to tell a story that happened in a very special, different way, as it were. Not all the events happened, there was no zombies, as it were. But people were poisoned and people died, that's what I wanted to capture, the moment before death. Essentially, that's where it comes from.
Well, Sean Burrows, many congratulations.
Thank you.
And thank you very much for giving us the time to see your exhibition and talk it through. I think this intersection of modern technology and triangulation and surveillance is a potential new dimension to your installation. Many congratulations and thank you very much.
Thank you very much.